Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Make That Paint Shine. The first 3 episodes have brought us up to this point. If you recall, we did a strip wash with the Chemical Guys washing gloss on episode 1. Episode 2, I showed you how to wipe down the car to remove any remaining sealant or wax with an IPA solution. Episode 3, we got busy with the clay bar and the Nano Skin Auto Scrub Pad. Now, I've rinsed the car completely of all the soap solution, got any debris off of the car, and have dried the car. What do we have left? Really nice smooth surface, but there's absolutely no protection left on here whatsoever. So if you're to this point, I suggest that before you drive the car, get it out in the elements, that you finish and get some protection on this car. We're in an enclosed area, so the next step, if your paint is not bad, if you don't have a lot of swirls, scratches, or any correction you need to do, you could go ahead and do a sealant. You can skip to the next episode. But on this episode, we are going to get rough and dirty with this paint with a buffing pad. That's right. If you've never buffed a car, beginners can use a DA buffer. There's a lot of them out there on the market. Porter Cable is probably one of the most popular ones. It's a random orbital DA buffer. I have that one and have used it for years, but this time I'm going to try the Harbor Freight Chicago Electric one because it's got a little bit more torque to it. It's still a random orbital DA polisher, but I'm going to see if it's going to help us do this a little quicker. If you've got something like a flex would be perfect for this paint because I'm going to need all the help I can get. Now, I'm only going to use what's necessary to remove the scratches I have. I'm going to try to show you with the camera. I've got acid rain damage in here, which that's what concerns me the most. Again, this paint is 17 years old, and my goal is not to make this show car finish, show car shine. If I wanted to do that, I would probably want to wet sand the car, use a rotary buffer and pad and compound and do that. But I'm not looking for that level of finish on here. I just want it to be nice. And I figured since it's time to renew the sealant on it, I do that once a year. I might as well go ahead and buff it. Probably won't do this again. But I wanted to do it to make a video for you guys. So I'm going to be starting out with, I'm going to use Adams' latest generation of foam pads. They're 7-inch pads. They'll fit on the Harbor Freight buffer just fine with the hook and loop backing. I'm going to start off with the orange microfiber. Now I know that this car is going to need orange microfiber because there's a lot of correction that needs to happen here. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do a tape line so we can kind of see where we are, and then I'll follow that up with a finishing compound. And then once I'm satisfied that those two, in fact that's all we're going to do today because I don't have any other compounds here. We're going to take those two as far as we can go, and then after we're done with that, we'll look and we'll reevaluate where we are. But for that episode, that's the episode after applying the sealant, and I'm probably going to do a wax on top of the sealant. This episode is buffing and buffing only. We're going to do the whole car. I'm not going to show you how to do the whole car because that would be too boring. The hood is a great example because it's easy for you to see. The light's right above the hood here. And the hood has a lot of, looking at it from an angle, it's got a lot of clear coat damage. Especially, I see the most thing I see here is the acid rain etching. So I'm hoping to get maybe 50% of it out. If I get more, that's great, that's fine. But that's what we're going to be doing, that's what we're going to be focusing on. Let me get some tape marks set up here, get the camera reset up, and get all our supplies, and then I'll show you how to do this job. Alright, so I can't tell on my viewfinder how well this is going to be picking up the places in the paint. But anyway, so we've got a lot of acid rain damage. There's a few light scratches in there. If you kind of focus on where the light is, you'll see it looks like pitting. That's acid rain damage. There's a few rock chips in here. There's some water spots where the windshield sprayer comes out, but that's what we're working with. So I'm going to be doing this side right here, and what I'm using for my compound is the Adams Swirl and Haze Remover. I've got a microfiber pad right here. It's the orange one that is on the Chicago Electric. I really like this buffer. This was one of the ones that Gary Dean uses, and he recommended it, that it had a lot more torque than the Porter cable, so it's cheap. I think I got that for about $50. There was a sale on Harbor Freight. I don't usually buy tools from Harbor Freight, but it's hard to beat that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and set the camera back on the tripod. And we are going to see if I can zoom in just a little more. And we're just going to go do this thing. I'm going to put it on speed 1 just to distribute the polish. And then I'm going to put this all the way up to about 5.5 for a correction. Take a microfiber cloth and wipe this off. Looking at the reflection of the light from this side to this side, this is certainly more clear. I'm going to do another pass with this. There's still quite a bit of acid rain etching in there, and again, I don't think that's going to come out. I think the only way to get that out really is going to be to wet sand it. So I'm just going to take the pad and put maybe 4 small pea-size amounts. Turn this back down to number 1. Rub this in. And I'm just going to spread it around here. Okay. We go up to, we're going all the way to the max, go up to 6. See if we can't get a little better cutting on this. Okay. All right, it is better, but super smooth. It's definitely better. there's still, I say it got out maybe 20% of the acid rain. So I'm going to try one thing here. Be right back. Okay, so off camera, I went and pulled out the most aggressive thing that I have here, which is Severe Swirl Remover. I use the green waffle pad, and I can't say that it really did any better. The etching in the paint, I'm going to say that needs to be wet sanded out. So I'm going to go follow this up again with the orange microfiber pad, and then I'm going to try the white pad on this, and then we'll pull the tape and see if there's any change in the way this looks compared to that side right there. Alright, so now I'm going to use the fine machine polish with the white machine polish pad. I do the exact same thing. I'm going to spread the product out. Put it on number 1 just to get everything distributed. And that's the speed 6. Alright, we'll take our microfiber cloth and wash or wipe this off. And we'll remove our tape line. Alright, that was our tape line. I don't know if the camera's picking it up. I can definitely see, if you look here, and then look here, the side that I did, it's the light, I can actually almost read the Sylvania there, and I can't read it there. I don't know if the camera's picking it up again, but I can definitely see improvement, a great improvement over what it was. This would be much more dramatic if it was on a dark car, black, dark blue, red. But being that this white, you know, it's it really hides that well. But so you can see, I'm able to read the Sylvania there. And if I move over here on this side of the line, not as much. So it definitely is better. So it looks like the procedure on this is going to be kind of a 3-step process for the hood. So I'm going to finish the whole hood. I'm going to use all 3 compounds with all 3 different pads, and then we'll come back and see if you can tell a difference. Alright guys, well, this is part of the not having daylight savings time, but I finished buffing the entire car, and what I'm doing now is it's covered with just dust and everything from the buffing process. But I wanted to show you guys something that's very important. You see how well this beads up now? That's just from the buffing process. So in order for our sealant to bond to the paint, we're going to have to wash this car again. I'm just going to use regular like Meguiar's Gold Class, and then I'm going to bring it back into the garage and wipe it down again with the IPA solution. And what I'm wiping off is the residual buffing compound that's inside the paint. I want that off. I do not want that on the paint, because that will not let the sealant bond to the paint as well as it should. But it's just amazing to see just how much the paint beads water now just from buffing. So I'm going to go ahead and wash the car again and then get it back in here, and I'm going to wipe it down with the IPA solution. Alright, so the car is back in the garage. It has been dried, and the final step that I'm going to do is do the IPA solution again. All the buffing dust is off of the car. So that's the last step. Now, a lot of people won't do this last step, but if you've used all this effort already, all these hours, and you want the sealant that you're going to use or the wax to have the maximum benefit of being able to bond to this paint properly so that it will last a long time, then I highly recommend that you do not skip the IPA wipe down again. Because as I showed you a minute ago, the water on this surface beads up really high, just like it was waxed. And that's just from, again, it's just from the compounds that are in the polish. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe this down with an IPA solution, let the car completely dry overnight. This is a dust-free environment in here. And on the next episode, I'm going to show you what we're going to use as a sealant. I'm torn between two products right now. I haven't decided which one I'm going to use. I don't know if I'm going to go back and use the Adams machine sealant. I know that stuff lasts a year. Or if I'm going to use the Chemical Guys Jet Seal. So I will make that decision, and on the next episode we'll find out which one I'm going to use. You guys have a good one.